Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. This is your Hello Haven Mavens podcast. We are very excited to be with you today. My name is Candace Smiley.
And I'm Laura Lee Harrison.
And we are your co-hosts, and we're very grateful to be coming to you today. What is this, Laura Lee? We've got something pretty exciting for our listeners today.
Yeah, this is episode 1 of our mini-series.
I'm so grateful to be doing this with you. It's been a little while since we have come to our listeners with some content, and we took a little bit of a hiatus to put some stuff together. We're busy moms. For those of you who are maybe just joining us for the very first time, this is a very big welcome from Laura Lee and myself. We started this podcast back in February. Hey, Laura Lee, February like 4th or something like that, February 1 of 2018. And we're really just two moms on a mission. Maybe we should run a little bit of a promotion around that. Hey, help someone figure out our tagline. Anyway, we've been having a lot of fun. And for both Laura Lee and I, we are really committed not to perfection, but rather a pursuit of excellence in all areas of our lives. And we're willing to sort of share and be transparent and authentic as we grow. So if you haven't had a chance to sort of go back and listen, do. All of our previous podcasts you'll find on SoundCloud / Hello Haven Mavens. You can find us on Facebook, Hello Haven Mavens, our website, hellohavenmavens.com, and then certainly as well on Instagram, which is our havens.mavens. That's always the one that trips us up because we change it up. I know, we're laughing because Laura Lee always messes this part up. And so you'll notice that we're very authentic. We do not practice these. We literally show up and we go. You're going to hear that in the recordings. Yes, we did record them, mostly because we're also committed to balance. Hey, Laura Lee, which has been sort of a bit of a struggle as moms of 3-year-olds. And again, that commitment to progression, right, rather than perfection. So let's maybe share with our listeners what they're going to be listening in on in the coming weeks. I think we've got 11 in total, including this one, that we'll be sharing with people. And so pretty excited about the number, excited about the people, excited about the connections we made. There was some cool synergy. Hey, Laura Lee, when we were doing the recordings, we took a whole day, totally exhausting, totally amazing. But let's talk about that just, I guess, in terms of synergy and what our listeners can be expecting to listen in on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was one of the most incredible days, and exhausting is right. Me and you both the next day were like, well, you knew. I was like, why am I so tired? and then I realized, but it was a big day, and it was absolutely incredible to be, it was online, but we surrounded ourselves that day with people that are just incredible, that inspire us, that have what we want, that where we're going, what we're doing. And so our listeners are going to have some incredible nuggets of information, because we know our listeners are probably wanting to change their life. They're probably moms. They're probably looking for different options in their life, as far as what they're doing currently, or opening up their minds to different things, right, Candace? And so
yeah, completely.
Yeah, so our listeners are going to hopefully have some aha moments, because I know I did. I don't know about you, Candace. Did you?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that was, I think, one of the coolest things is, for our listeners who are listening in, we know the value of your time. And so we really sat back and we looked at the people who were inspiring us. Both Laura Lee and I, we have the privilege of working from home. We do a number of different things, largely online. We are both into the network distribution, and we've included a little more of that this time. And I think that's I guess, sort of fair to let our listeners know about, and also because we know so many amazing people who are taking advantage, of the network marketing industry and the power of that, and really residual income. So we talk a lot about that this time. We talk a lot about, what it's like to be an entrepreneur. We talk about what it's like to be a mom. We talk about a lot. We really make sure that we keep the podcast around 20 minutes as well, right? So that we can really respect that we know you're probably going to be plugging your headset in and listening while you're doing something else. And so we do cater to the multitasker. We cater to the woman, and we did interview a couple of guys this time, a couple of guys who really, I'm grateful that they're in my life. I mean, one of them is an accountability partner for me. One of them is just a freaking inspiration. I can't wait for that episode. And also, women who were like, they would say things like, I didn't plan to talk about this. And wow, I'm about to get really real here. And so if you're somebody who in a very noisy world is looking for a dose of reality, you're going to find it here. We're not polished. We're not perfect. But we are committed to you. And I think, one of the things we wanted to do with this first podcast was introduce you to us, as well as to kind of give you a snapshot so you could feel comfortable and safe sharing this with people that you know. We are looking to attract a tribe. And so, Laura Lee and I have got some fun things in the works that we really want to support the people who listen to us and love us and share as we grow and shift and change and bring you along for the ride. So maybe let's talk about that for a second, Laura Lee. That we're looking to put together a bit of a mastermind this year. We're looking to meet some of our tribe, and so you're currently traveling right now, and we happen to be together to record this. But let's talk about that, sort of that journey that we both took to how did we start podcasting and where did we go, and why would someone take some time to keep listening, right?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely traveling, back out in BC right now. Me and you have a couple of trips to the States coming up, which is really exciting, really fun. And yeah, we started this. I remember we started tossing around ideas. I was sitting in my car outside the gym, and the name came to you, and we were both like, "That's it." and then we were done. Then we started doing it. Started doing these. You were on the road. I was still in my home, and it started coming together, and we started growing. And we decided to do this mini series, which I feel is super empowering, and it's going to be really fantastic when it fully launches. And each week that we have the different people coming on and speaking to our listeners and providing that value.
Yeah, and I think that's fun. So for our listeners who maybe are just joining us for the very first time, Laura Lee and I are both parents of 3-year-olds. We both have safe places that we can call home whenever we need to, and we don't pay rent in the typical way. We do a lot of house sitting, and I'm sure we'll talk about that throughout the episodes. And so we've really tapped into the sharing economy. We do that with our careers. We share great products and services to people. We facilitate great conversations, and we have chosen to live a little bit outside of our comfort zones and do something that's maybe not normal. And I'm putting air quotes around that word. I know, right? Normal.
Little
Really.
I am not inside my comfort zone at all.
At all, no. And so, but what's been really amazing has been the neat people, places, and things. And we're certainly not the first moms to do this. You can listen to some of our beginning podcasts, and we interviewed other moms who've done it, or even families. I mean, some of the house sitters that I've met, Laura Lee, over the last few months have been families who have said, we even hear from one on our podcast, this particular miniseries, who's taking 6 months or 9 months or a year to they put their house up on an Airbnb, or maybe they're renting, and so they let that go. and they just go and travel for a while. So it's all very planned. It's all very put together, and it's been a really neat journey. And we do that largely because, and this is at least for me, literally within the last couple of weeks, I've sat down with women who were an inspiration to me. I'd like to have both of them on our next series, and they know who they are. Women who met me, Lauralee, when I was in my early 20s and said, girlfriend, you've got something in you, and go do it. And I know that, a lot of the beautiful and amazing things that I have done felt impossible. But if you just do what's in front of you, and then you're doing what's possible, and all of a sudden you're attempting the impossible. And I think that's how this podcast came about. I think that's how our friendship came about. I think that's how the lifestyle that we're living came about, was we just said, oh, we could do something different. We could do that. And so that's really sort of the idea behind the podcast. We're living on purpose. We used to say on plan and on purpose, but both of us, we have planners, and our lives are very much, we know where we're going to be. We've got dates. We have to. And we're living more on purpose than we are on plan. And I'm certainly finding a lot of joy in that. And so we hope that as you listen into this coming mini series, that you as our listeners might find a bit of magic in all of that. And remember that, no one gets out of life alive. So you may as well make it count. Whether making it count is for some of the moms just being home with your kids. And I don't mean just being home with your kids. I mean being home with your kids and raising them. What a gift that is. To women who choose not to have kids. We have some of those on our call as well, who go out and they create amazing things. So we really love you as our listeners. We are looking forward to sharing with you. Lauralee, what's the biggest takeaway you've had from doing this mini series and putting it all together that we can leave our listeners with? I'll do the same, and then we'll send them off to enjoy their day, and let them await for next Thursday. Yeah, I guess we should say that we always launch on a Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Whenever possible. And so you can listen in, and that's of course on SoundCloud. But I guess, Lauralee, what's the biggest aha takeaway that you had from doing this?
Oh, wow. Throwing things at me first thing in the morning, Candice.
Always.
My biggest takeaway, I think I loved the way the flow of the recordings went. It was incredible how, like you said before, we don't rehearse, we don't go through this. We hop on the calls and we do this. We don't prep our people, our speakers, nothing. And there was so much flow, and it just really took a life of its own. And me and you both are strong into manifesting and the universe and law of attraction, that kind of thing. And so I really loved how it unfolded and happened. And that was a big moment for me. I think it was for you as well. I remember us talking about it and going through it together, and we were like, wow, all the time. Every speaker, we were like, wow. And
Yeah, it was really fun.
yeah, and for me, we have a special speaker that we've had on before. And, this speaker for me was someone I listened to a year ago. Someone that I was like, oh, I want to live like that. Someone that inspired me to take the actions that I am currently taking. And she became a reality in my life. And I think you're along a similar line with that. And so that to me was a big moment for me. And that's progressed since we even recorded with her. And so I think that was a big one. Like, oh, like, wow, I am doing this. Wow, I've changed my life so much in like 18 months or less. I think it's been less than 18 months. It has been. So, my life has significantly changed, and and that inspiration, that person, and all of these people that we have on here are inspirations and going to be part of my moving forward. And I'm pretty sure I can say that for you as well, as far as that goes. And that's, yeah, I think that would be my biggest takeaway is the changes. I had this realization like, wow, I've done some pretty significant things in the last year.
Yeah, I think that was me too. I've lived my life by synchronicities for a very long time. You know, open doors, green lights. Not that I don't, you know, experience resistance in my life and just quit. But I look for, you know, silver linings, open doors, you know, that sort of thing. And podcasting was something I'd always wanted to do. And we hear that a lot from our speakers, even certainly from our listeners. I would like to do what you do. And I think the difference is that you and I just went, wow, let's do that. Right. And so for some of our listeners, if you go back and listen to some of our first, you're going to laugh because they were not awesome. And we were okay with that. And the synchronicity, you're right, Laurie, when we were listening, we didn't prep anybody. And literally the way we had them all set up, they were back to back to back. We took one day, everybody slotted themselves in. There wasn't even a conflict when we were booking people's times. Did you notice that? We would say, hey, and they would say, they would pick a time, and there was never overlap, ever overlap. And so that was just a big, huge thing for me. I'm reminded in moments like this how easy it is to create that which I want. And so how much more so did it shine the light on other things that maybe in my mind I have made to be hard to accomplish and hard to do, or I couldn't do that because. And so this little podcast reminds me of what is possible. And I got to tell you, I sat down with one of my mentors last week, and she said, what's the point, Candace? What's the point, right? The world's so noisy right now. There's so much I could listen to. And I said, the reason I do it is because I want to put out good content. I want to put out stuff that I would smile as I was listening to. I want to, by my example, free someone else to do the same, right? There's that quote by Marianne Williamson, which basically says that it is our light we are most afraid of and not our dark. We're used to the dark, right? We're used to failing. But we don't attempt things because we might fail. And you and I have discovered that there really is no failure. It's always about growing and learning and changing and leveling up. And so in that synchronicity piece, we heard that. We heard from people who were like, oh, I wasn't always like this, right? This has been a progression. And I think too many of us never start. And if you never start, you can never get to where you want to go. And that, I think, was some of the bigger takeaways of that. And when you realize, you are becoming an inspiration, and you and I did not set out to be an inspiration. We set out just to be authentic. We set out to share our voices as women who have often not said what we were thinking, or had journeys to go through in our own way. We have unique journeys, you and I, but there's similarities between them, where we went through periods where we didn't speak and we were, not awesome. And the ability that every day is a new day, and you do not have to be defined by your past, because every second that you make a different choice, that's not your past, right? Like, the past is becoming 30 seconds ago, which is just so cool. And so I love how we can build on this. We can build on where we're going. So with that, I think we can wrap this one up, and we want to encourage you today to be willing to live your light, because the world needs you to. And you can either be the candle or you can be the match, right? Or you can be the mirror. And that if we just get on purpose, also on purpose, you can have a huge impact on the world. So, Laurie, anything else you want to leave our readers or listeners, and I guess where they can find us again, and feel free to share us or find us on Facebook, because we are definitely looking to create that mastermind, and we're looking to find our tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think I want to share just quickly before we go one more piece. For me, the two gentlemen that we had on, we very briefly touched on, you very briefly touched on that, what inspirations they are. And we are very much about, helping women feel empowered or helping them get to the next stage. We are not about cutting off men. And so that to me, it was a really important piece that we had these powerhouse men join us that
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
believe, yeah, and they believed in us and they believe in us and they believe in other women, and they're all about building people, all about building women, and respect women. And I know from my past, this was huge for me to meet men that are like that. And so um that is something that I guess, yeah, I wanted to add in. Those are very special episodes.
So oh, yeah. And I mean, we may as well just say it right then and there. If someone is still listening to us as we've rambled on this morning, um, we are both very much empowered women who want to empower other women. And we also really respect the men who support us as we rise. I know that my dad has always been a huge force in my life, and I love him dearly. And I was even saying to a friend of mine that I have met amazing men who inspired the heck out of me, motivated me, especially men who are comfortable in their masculinity, however that looks for them. With no judgment on the word or, preconceived notion of what that means. And the men who, I mean, we had a couple of that were just, man, you know what I mean? And so I think empowered people empower people. And it was really neat to add that piece of it. And I know we're going to do more of that. I know we had talked about, co-hosting a Mr. Mavens podcast, because the cool thing about Mavens is it can be male or female if you change one of the letters, which we love. And that's probably still something we're going to do at some point, is have a Mr. Mavens, episodes, right, where we feature these amazing people, because we love that. And so for our listeners, if you've got a partner or a spouse, we are going to cater largely to the women entrepreneurs and moms, because, well, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are, and that's who we are. And we're going to give a really big nod this time to the men of our lives. So, yeah, we're looking forward to this. Tune in to us next week around 11 a.m. Thank you to all the people who are supporting us and the networks that are now carrying us. We love that. If you've got a story to share, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on our websites. It's always just Hello Haven Mavens. You can't miss us. Find us, message us. We are looking to record for our next mini-series. We're very excited about that. And you can also find us, you can email us hellohavenmavens@gmail.com. And that's on the website, which is hellohavenmavens.com. So with that, I can hear my Miss Minion looking for me. So that's probably me signing off. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Laura Lee, anything you want to add, or can we wrap this up?
Let's wrap this up. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And we're really excited to bring you the next 11 weeks. So have a wonderful day or evening, whatever time it is you're listening in at. And we're very blessed that you are joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.